My name is Barb McLean. I'm the VP of Integration and Analytics at Celero, and we're a technology services company here in Canada. We deliver financial technology and expertise through our innovative mindset and cooperative values because we grew up out of the credit union system here in Canada. And our mission is to provide financial well-being to all. So our company's clients and partners are firmly rooted in the financial services sector here in Canada. We really enjoy working with our credit unions who are also, through our ownership structure, indirectly our owners as well. And so we have this really excellent ecosystem that are serving our local communities and the members of those credit unions. We also work with other financial services organizations, and our main partners are all focused around providing those kind of technology services that the credit unions need to best serve their members. The main aspect of my role and how it relates to APIs is that I've had the distinct pleasure of working with a team who's been building a banking integration platform over the last 3 years. And so we live squarely in that place where we are API first and API driven. And our purpose in life is to use APIs to connect together all of the main systems of record and applications that credit unions use to serve their members. I would say that I'm personally known for bringing my whole self to work. The visual behind me probably describes it. I'm a self-prescribed fintech and Star Wars nerd, and I love to live at the intersection of the things that I care about, both personally and professionally. I would also say I'm known for having spent my entire career here at Celero. So I've proudly been here since before the inception of us as an organization. I've been here the entire time, and 20 years later, I still get to work with great people doing fun things, and that's why I'm still here. So some of the things that certainly have an impact on me and my role and my team's role in the larger ecosystem and how we fit there are the fact that today is the slowest day we'll ever see again. And change is our only constant. And we've really grounded ourselves against that as a bit of a guiding principle. Everything we do is to enable change, to recognize that change is going to happen, to recognize that we actually need to help make that change happen. And how do we go down pursuing the road of securely and quickly enabling digital transformation for our credit unions, because their members' expectations are continuously changing as well. And so our ability to actually provide future-ready new technical capabilities that the credit unions can build those member experiences on is the place where we live every day. We're in the middle of some very important, large-scale, complete modernization of all of the technology that financial services use. And specifically in Canada, it centers around two particular topics where APIs have a direct impact on all of us. The Bank of Canada has a payments modernization mandate. And specifically, they've aligned around the use of the ISO 20022 payment standard. And so very clearly, the systems that interact with payments need to be able to speak that particular API language. And so that's one thing that we've been doing over the last couple of years, is making sure that our platforms are actually compatible with that API standard to support the payments partners that we work with. The second topic is open banking. And certainly that's a really interesting space in Canada right now, where the federal government is coming out to say that we all need to make sure that we recognize that the data that we all hold in trust is really just that. We're holding it in trust for the end account holder. And how do we allow them to give their own consent to the permission of use of that data for the purpose that they need? And clearly the ability for anyone to be able to then add all of those partners, participants, and applications in the mix. The only way to make them talk together effectively and securely is through APIs. I get my own particular research, and I really tend to learn through a few specific sources. They generally tend to come to me through the Twitter fire hose. That's the place where I actually live my virtual life, I think, is on Twitter. And over the last few years, I've really encountered a lot of exceptionally intelligent people, people who are very open to sharing and helping you learn along the way. And because the work that we do is centered around financial services, I just want to give a shout out to the amazing fintech community on Twitter. Without them, over the last few years, I certainly wouldn't have learned what I know today. And they are a source of excellent content on this subject. There are so many great people sharing openly great content to help us all learn. I think there's a lot of other great folks that I've encountered along the way. I want to thank the Women in APIs community because they have certainly introduced me to a whole host of other people and other organizations that dive into the topic of how to use APIs and what APIs mean and what kind of business models you may choose to pursue there. And getting at it from the context that's not financial services specific. I spend a great deal of time surfing through the Twitter stream that I have, and I'm amazed that there's always new things to learn and find there. So what do I know or do that I would love for people to know more about? I think it's that, in the market that we serve, which is Canadian financial services, it's an extremely small community. So if you start to think about these places where we all intersect, the topic of APIs, thinking about what that means to financial services, thinking about folks that work in the Canadian market to do that, the circle of folks that you encounter, want to work with, end up partnering with, it starts to become very small. And we're all here with the same goal, to make other people's lives better. And it doesn't take very long for you to repeatedly run into those same people. As much as this is a very technology-focused discussion about, what is an API, how do you use them effectively, how do you build them effectively, it ends up very quickly not being a technology discussion. It ends up being a discussion about the people who make that work. And I'm just blessed to be surrounded by, I think, the most excellent team in the world, and this larger sphere of people in the industry and the ecosystem to work with. And I think that's just the most exciting part about what we do. So where did I learn, sort of what I know now? That's obviously been a life's journey. And part of that journey was even learning how to continue to learn. I've always been curious about how things worked. I remember as a kid taking apart the joysticks for my Atari 2600 to glue them back together so that I could still play video games. And technology has always interested me. When I started this job 20 years ago, that was one of the reasons they hired me, is because I brought a more technology focus to the things that I knew instead of a financial services industry focus. And I've been really fortunate in my career that I've had so many opportunities to ebb and shift and flow and identify and create those opportunities to go and do something new that is interesting within the same organization. I think that is the story of why I'm with Celero 20 years on. And each one of those things did present me with an opportunity to learn something new. I maybe didn't know it at the time that I was going to get a learning opportunity out of it, but certainly reflecting back, that's exactly what happened. And so, I've certainly then recognized how the power of always seeking out new understanding ends up unlocking some of those opportunities for you. We've even made it the mantra of our team is that, learning is actually one of the most important things we can do, whether it's learning a new tool or technology, whether it's deliberately seeking learning out of the things that we got wrong. And one of the best ways that you can move your internal initiatives forward is by recognizing that it's the learning that gets you there. The sooner you learn that it's not the right approach, the better off you are. And so that subject of learning really has become a consistent thread for me. And I've been blessed to find and take and create the opportunities that got me here. The places that I try to keep up to date on what is happening specifically on the topic of APIs and how to work in that world certainly do lead me down wanting to take advantage of both offline and online content. I think over the last couple of years, we've seen some really great capabilities surfaced up for anyone, anywhere in the world to participate. I do think the API Days conferences have been a place where I've enjoyed spending a lot of time. Not only the technical platform they've chosen to facilitate those virtual conferences, but the fact that it's really engaging. You as a participant can see the conversation that others are having, and you're seeing people from all over the world engaging there. So that certainly has been one new source that I've really enjoyed over the last little while. I also pay a lot of attention to things that are happening that are quite relevant to the kinds of tools that my team are using, because it's important for me to understand what it's like to use them. I'm not going in day to day to code the APIs, but the more that I can understand what it's like for the team to use them, the better I can not only facilitate things, but represent the work that they do. Some of the current things that we're working on are directly under the banner of digital transformation. We made a decision to move our workloads up to the Microsoft Azure cloud. And so we've been busily working on that to transition out of an on-premise implementation for our integration services up to a public cloud implementation. And so we'll be launching those in the first half of the year to full production for all of our workloads. It's been really exciting. The tools are so easy to use. The journey's really been easy, and so it really validates that it was an easy decision to make to go and do that. That centers the majority of the team's work. We're working primarily to support payments modernization here in Canada and preparing ourselves to be able to support credit unions and others as they navigate the open banking journey that's to come. The things that I'm hoping to learn this year are being much more educated about the topic of sustainability. So I'm actually doing some formal coursework through NYU Stern on that topic, and had a course recommended to me. So shout out to Matt Seacole, who recommended that one my way. And looking forward to using not only that specific coursework to expand the network of people that I meet and interact with, but just generally figuring out the right ways to continue to intersect with the people in the larger sphere in which I live, whether that's in my local community, because continuing to get out in the local community is obviously going to be important for all of us over the next year, but also those virtual communities, because I've certainly relied on them heavily in the last couple of years. And, they've meant a lot to me. I hope that, things that I do and share are resonating and providing value to them. So not only some more formalized learning, but just ensuring that I'm continuing to focus on the people in both my personal and professional life. The one thing I think that I'd love to share with the API community, because I have this opportunity, is thanks for getting involved. Whether you're seeking information or you want to be able to contribute, don't be shy. It's such a vibrant and healthy community. We all benefit from everyone participating, and so reach out to me directly. I'm happy to make a connection, and if I can help you, that's great. And if not, just please continue to participate, because the participation of everyone is what we're seeking.